to the Illustrious Collection Podcast. Our podcast is an in-depth conversation of how movies are made and how indie filmmakers, especially indie filmmakers, get them done. I'm here today with my co-host, Dr. Jose Luis Ruiz, who is a director, dentist, and founder of Dr. Ruiz Productions. Dr. Ruiz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. And wow, this is going to be a really fun podcast because we have two super talented people and, people that I admire a lot, Andrew and of course Heidi. But you're going to love this story. So let me introduce you officially, my friend,
Please.
Andrew Gutierrez, who is an amazing director. He graduated his FMA from oh my God! Remind me.
Chapman University.
Chapman University, of course. I mean, so many great. I mean, I'm very impressed. I mean, they do a very good job because we have so many of great directors coming from there. So, and now he's a professor. He's so talented, and now he teaches film to students in Irvine. So you guys are going to learn a lot. And of course, we have this wonderful, talented actress who is also a director now. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So that's so exciting. We have a very fun podcast today. But to get a little bit excited, let's start by watching. What do you think? Should we watch the
nice trailer?
The trailer so you can get excited. Let's do it.
Once you mark the cards, they're never the same again.
That's how I learn.
Mom, you have to do something.
No boy is allowed to walk you home or come and visit. Comprendes?
Tim, what are you doing here? You can't be here.
Just wanted to see you and give you your book back. Linda,
Yeah.
if you ever leave, don't come back.
So, Andrew, I really loved this movie. I think it was a very heavy topic, but it was really well done. It was just beautiful overall. So I just wanted to ask, what was your inspiration creating this film?
Yeah, great question. It began with burger and beers with a professor I had at Chapman University, and he asked me what I wanted to do for my thesis film. So I gave him an idea of what I wanted to do. He said, that idea is too big. So I told him another idea, and he said, that's a feature film. That's not what you need to do for your thesis. And he asked me a really important question. He said, is there a story in your family that you've heard over and over again that you could repeat verbatim instantly? And I thought about it. I said, yeah. And I had some stories of my mom's story growing up in an abusive household. And this film is based on her story. So it's a true story, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so then I started having conversations with my mom about it and started really kind of breaking down what the story could be. And that's where it began.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Wow, that hits really close to our heart, right? Absolutely. I mean, my gosh, when I saw it, even just recently I saw it again and I start crying again. Yeah. So it's just very, very powerful.
Well, and that's the thing is that I actually started to get to know my mother in a deeper way because of this. Mm-hmm. So I love my mom. I'm a big, fan of my mom. And I wanted to tell a story about her survival and how she wins in the end. And so that was the goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really beautiful too, though, because I feel like doing it, you kind of see her in a different light. So it's not so much like, just your mom, but it's just like a woman herself, right? And the struggle she went through.
100%. And I think that's what a lot of people have been inspired by. Because whenever we show this film, inevitably someone will come up to me after a screening or something like that and say, I was in a similar situation. Mm-hmm. Thank you for making that film. Mm-hmm. In fact, I had a friend who was at one of our screenings. We did a movie theater. And at the end of the film, we had a little Q&A. And at the end of the Q&A, I saw him get up and walk out immediately. So I ran off the stage. I caught up to him. I kind of grabbed him by his arm, turned him around, and he was just tears coming down his eyes because he had been in an extremely abusive household as a child where his mom was trying to kill him. And he said, Andrew, he goes, you nailed the tone of what it's like to be in an abusive household. And that blew me away because I've never been abused personally. I grew up in a loving household. But somehow through my mom's stories, I was able to translate her stories into what we saw on the screen. And that's what was the effect.
Yeah, well, beautifully done. And by the way, we have the star of the film who now my question to you, Heidi, is, you know, what type of work do you have to do to get yourself, because you perform it so well, you know, what type of work, what type of preparation do you have to do to be able to get into that character?
Right. So a lot of it was having these conversations with Andrew. I'm the type of actor that I need to talk to my director. I need to have these conversations. And in preparing for this role, I asked him a lot of questions. I did a lot of background work. And I didn't take this lightly. This was a piece, you know.
I don't think anybody can take this lightly. That's such a powerful story.
Right. And it's one of those things where I don't relate because I've never experienced that. And so it's like, how do you get into that character? How does someone feel in that position?
Well, you tell us.
Right. Exactly. So it took a lot of research and analysis and having those conversations. And I remember Andrew said, you asked me if I wanted to meet your mom. And I said, no, I don't want to meet her because as an actor, we tend to impersonate someone and imitate it. And that's not part of the character. And
You feel like it would have constrained you or something, like your
Right.
performance.
like just copying what she was doing. It's not about that at all.
No.
And so, yeah, it took a lot of talking.
I would imagine. Yeah. You did a nice job.
Thank you.
Very, very, very
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, very exciting. So, Andrew,
Yeah.
we're independent filmmakers. We have very small budgets. You're a professor of film, so what are the things that you did to be able to create this film on a low budget, which I'm sure I'm sure you didn't have a ton of money.
No.
You know, so give us some of the secrets that you use to be able to stay on time and on budget.
That's great. That's great. There was a phrase in that conversation I had with that professor while we were having burgers, came something that I really believe in for short films. And that is tell a simple story well. Like if you can tell a simple story very well, the odds of you doing it very well are very high. And so that to me is the goal. What's a simple story that you know, that you can repeat verbatim, like he told me. And if it's simple enough that you can actually execute it well, you're set. So that's one thing, right? Simple story told well. Number two, what are the things you have available to you? What can you do with the money that you have? Because there's a lot of ambitious young filmmakers who overstretch themselves. They go far beyond what they probably should have. So you got to kind of stay within yourself and within the things that you can actually achieve, right? That's two. Third, if it is a short film, try to keep it under 15 minutes because that's what most film festivals are looking for.
It's true.
Because they want to show more films in a particular block, right? And if you have a 30-minute short, it's really hard for film festivals to say, okay, let's show that 30 minutes when we can do 2 films during that time.
Is that a good point?
So I tell them, make it a 15-page script or under, because you know the translation is 1 page per minute, right? So that's what I try to tell them. And I think that's what we kind of did and what made it achievable, right? Also, because of that, because we wrote something that was definitely achievable, we also were able to take our time with making the images look beautiful.
I was going to say your cinematography was beautiful.
Yeah.
And also getting the performances we wanted. If you're shooting, you know, a lot of pages a day, I won't give a number, but a lot of pages a day, the odds of you getting really good performances and a really beautiful look are challenged because you don't have the time to do that. So you're going to have to know kind of within yourself, what can I actually do? And try to limit your page count per day so that you can make things look gorgeous and give your actors time to do a good performance. That's really what you're looking for.
Yeah, great advice. How many days did you guys shoot this film?
So because it was my thesis film, They gave us 10 days to shoot it,
Okay.
which was
wow,
awesome. Okay.
well, that's a lot.
So they give you 10 days to shoot it, right? And so
a
we were
luxury.
yeah, and absolute a luxury, right? And so we went out shaking trees and raised enough money to actually shoot it within that time limit. At the end of it, I had an ending that didn't work.
Oh.
And so I had to request an additional couple days to go out and shoot a new ending.
Oh.
And because I did that, I went back and fixed some of the holes we had within the script.
Oh.
So we had a weekend before we did reshoots. And so
Okay.
that's when we finished it. But yeah, we definitely had the luxury of a certain amount of days to shoot with. But even still, we were extremely efficient with the time we were given. And we were able to do some really great work within that time. And it still felt like you didn't have enough time at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You're still burning at the end of the day. You know, sun's going down, let's go, we got to shoot this. So, yeah.
Yeah, so true, so true. How many cameras did you use?
We used one camera.
One camera.
Single camera shoot the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a great camera team.
Right.
The cinematographer and I worked diligently on this film, constantly in meetings. Here's the other thing we did. We didn't watch other movies to inspire our cinematography because we felt that it would become derivative of other films. We went to museums and we went and looked at beautiful pieces of art to be inspired by the light of art, the contrast within art, the colors in art. And so we went to the Broad, we went to, what's the big one on the hill up there, over off the 405?
Getty.
The Getty. We went to several others too. And we kept looking at art to be inspired for our images. So when you look at the images, you can actually see some of them look these beautiful compositions of art because of that. That's what we were inspired by.
Well, yeah, that was good. Who was your cinematographer?
Her name was Kelsey Chu. She's married now, so she's Kelsey Wang.
Okay.
But and her Chinese name is Yi Yao.
Okay.
So it's Yi Yao Wang. And she was brilliant.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant to work with.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Nice, congrats. Yeah, I very true. The first time I saw it, and I know that your film won an award at our festival, the Mexican American Film and Television Festival, and everything you say is correct.
Yeah.
You know, we were looking for shorter films because very long films, you know, take away opportunities to show more films from other people, right?
Yeah.
So very, very well said, and very well deserved your award as
Thank you.
best director of
100%.
big
Yeah.
film for
Thank you.
sure. And you should have won also a
No,
best
no,
actress,
no.
but, you know,
I'm glad he won.
no, I agree. I think
Yeah.
because your performance was phenomenal.
No,
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Now, I know that maybe is it? You think it's the right time to
Yes,
play
I
the?
think it is the right time to play the little short clip. But before we go into that, I wanted to ask, is there anything that we should look at this key scene and pay attention to?
Walk us through it.
Absolutely. Heidi, you want to go first and I'll go?
This is a scene where
The shadow, with your
Yeah.
father's shadow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I think from an actor's perspective, what you want to look for is the change between start and then the finish, where I'm talking to a boy I had a crush on, and it's an innocent moment, and that changes to my character losing her innocence, and it's seeing that from an actor's perspective, and then realizing that was a very challenging scene to film.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
switch and the emotions.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say one thing to look for is look for this shot with the shadow crossing the face, because it wasn't supposed to be like that. We were supposed to shoot it down the hall and kind of a wide shot of seeing her in the kind of the casing of the door, and then the father steps in, right? And when we set it up, it didn't work because it looked like it was going to become sexual abuse and not physical abuse. There's something about kind of a lower angle. We could see the father from the waist down. It didn't work.
Mm.
And I called my cinematographer over, my AD over, said, guys, this is what I'm seeing. Do you feel the same way? I had to check myself. And they said, it kind of looks that way. I said, that takes us away from our story. That's not the story we're telling.
Exactly.
We got to redo this. So we switched it around. We brought it to a close-up. And that's where you see the shadow take over the face. And that's when it was perfect. The other thing to watch for, so you're watching for the character transition, right? But also watch for something that was inspired. She says and whispers very quietly, Dad, don't do this, right? And it's very small, very quiet. That was improvisation. That was not in the script. It was just in the moment. And she calls out to her dad like to protect her, but not to beat her up. So
Oh,
that's what you should watch.
okay. Let's watch it, but you guys are gonna feel it.
Yeah.
kind of like you. I want to talk to you more often.
What are you doing here?
I just came to return a book I borrowed, sir.
Go inside. You're not allowed to come over. Go home.
Yes, sir.
Rachel, get up, go to Miguel's room, go.
That was a very emotional scene. Well, I mean, Andrew, tell us a little bit of what were the roadblocks that you found during this shooting, and you already mentioned a couple, but we would like to, especially from a professor in film, we would like to learn. Most of us learn from our mistakes and our roadblocks. So tell us what was like your biggest that you can think of right now.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think we learn from our mistakes and we learn from the different obstacles that present itself to us. I got to be careful what I say because I'm still working in this business, and so but there are some unions and some organizations that make things hard. And I wish they could smooth things out and make things easier, but they don't. And so I think those are some of the roadblocks we weren't expecting, but they prevented us from being able to do certain things. So I would say, regardless of whatever is presented to you that's an obstacle from an organization, keep going. You can't stop. Once you get this machine going, it's really hard to build momentum. And if you get momentum, don't stop. You got to keep moving forward. Right. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, there's certain things that are just going to be outside of your ability. I'm going to repeat that because I just tapped my mic. There's certain things that are going to be outside your ability to control. For example, there was a squabble within the city that we were shooting in, and someone didn't want to do the right thing for another coworker, so they shut off the power in the area we were supposed to be shooting in because they were having a personal battle and we were the victims. And so ultimately we got them to turn the power back on and we kept moving forward with our schedule. But no matter what the obstacle, I mean, there's a bunch that we had. We said some other ones. I don't want to get into the details, but there's a lot of other ones. No matter what, you just make sure your team is safe. Make sure everyone's okay, and you keep moving forward. You cannot stop no matter what.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I also love what you said about if, even if organizations or groups or you have to stay true to your message and your story.
That's right.
And have the courage to continue in that direction, right? I love what you said.
That's very true too, because we had people who want us to make changes to our story and make it to their liking or something that it wasn't. And I stayed true to my mom's story. I can honestly say that, and I felt really comfortable doing that no matter what.
Yeah, that's such an important thing. Yeah. Now, for you, Heidi, tell us. I mean, what is? Of course, you have to, you have to play. It's something that's completely outside of what you're known as a young lady. But what was the most difficult part of getting into this character and performing this?
Right. So two different things. One is the fact that, and I already touched on it, but not having experienced this, and we all go through trauma. We all have trauma. That's common, but I have not experienced physical abuse, and so I didn't take that lightly. And so portraying that was difficult for me because I didn't want it to come across as disingenuous or as like a forced performance. And it's thinking about what it would feel like in that moment and going through that, and you sort of have to step out of it as an actor. And the second thing is portraying someone so important to Andrew, because it's not just someone that he knows, it's arguably she is one of the most important people in your life.
100%.
Right. And
100%.
so to
Our
portray
mom.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you do it with respect and with humility as well. And I'm so honored and humbled. But yeah, those are my two challenges.
Yeah, those are big challenges. Those are big challenges. Yep. Very cool. Well, I know that our marketing director right here is thinking marketing, promotion. How do we get this amazing story out there to the world?
Yes. So I did want to ask you, Andrew, like, how did you go about trying to like market this film to build like a community around it?
Great question. I think it began with actually the university. The university sent it in to be judged by CAA, the agency, right? And once we heard that, we're like, maybe we have something good, because they didn't ask me for my permission. They just did it. And I had phone calls with CAA and started realizing, wait, I think we've got something pretty good here. And then we started to enter into different festivals and started winning awards. And that was kind of the next thing. Now, as you guys know with shorts, it's very difficult to get those out into the world or be on festivals. It's very difficult. So there was one thing that came up for Latino filmmakers, and they were going to distribute it online where you could go. But unfortunately, they couldn't make it beyond a year. It kind of ended relatively short. So, but we entered into a lot of film festivals, had public screenings in the theaters for our short. So that was kind of how we did it. I've learned a lot since then. I would probably do it a little differently now, where I would use Instagram and TikTok as methods to promote the film, use public screenings to generate more interest, and then also create reels for YouTube, where we would start to create a presence that ultimately, when the film festivals were over, we put it on YouTube and raise interest and hopefully followers to be able to invest in the next project that we have.
Right.
That's what I would do now.
So you didn't really like rely on like social media for Boss.
For Boss, I was in survival mode to graduate my MFA, so I didn't have time.
I mean, that's a reality for many filmmakers. They're just trying to get the projects done. That sometimes the marketing is not their first thought. It's more about finishing this film as soon as possible.
That's a great point. And I think what you really should do is you should begin with the end in mind. You really need to know, where is this going to go? How are we going to get this thing out there? And how are we going to somehow generate interest for our next project? That's how I would do it now. And in fact, I'm going to be directing a film in December, and that's exactly what we're doing now.
Right.
You're thinking the end.
Thinking the end first. Absolutely.
You're speaking as a professor
Yeah.
of film.
Yeah.
And I know I'm sure the Yazmin is loving what you're saying.
Sure.
Because I think today, especially for independent filmmakers, creating a community is crucial, right? And so everybody out there, please listen to this advice, because it's so important. Keep building your community, because the more people know about what you're doing, the more they're going to follow you, the more they're going to be prepared for your next project, which we're going to get to in just a minute, because that's so important.
But you're saying something really important. And what that means practically is that means you got to go to film festivals. You got to learn, and I can understand and respect that some people aren't great at this, but you got to learn how to shake hands, put a smile on your face, and talk to people, because you got to network.
Right.
And especially in the Latino community, it's very small, but Latino filmmakers, it's micro, it's very, very small. And so you want to connect with people, because honestly, people want to help. They do want to help. You just got to get yourself in that community, in that group. So you got to kind of be a little brave, step out of your comfort zone and shake someone's hand and just ask them, so what do you do?
Exactly. Yeah, but it's tough for a lot of people, as you just said.
It's really hard, and I really respect and understand that. But you gotta get out there.
And that's why we have MACIF, as you know, the Mexican American Cultural Education Foundation, which we organize events, networking events. We have the film festival, the Mexican American Film and Television Festival, because we know how important it is. Most of us, don't have cousins and uncles and moms who are already in the industry, and we have the in, which is the reality. If you see any director or big famous star right now, I mean, I can tell you one after the other, they all have family members who are in the industry, and we don't have that. So we need to help each other. That's right. So Andrew, help me. And Heidi, help us.
We will.
Yeah, of course. Right? That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Heidi, I also wanted to ask you from like an actor standpoint, like how do you like market yourself so that you can like get these roles? Because I know it's hard for an actor, like facing a lot of rejection and things like that. So how do you go to social media? Do you just apply to different roles? How does it?
So I'm learning that social media is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
I think besides auditioning and networking, I think social media, that's your online presence, it's your brand, right? Your online resume, right? If like how many times do people Google versus Instagram someone?
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been learning to focus on.
That is so important. And I have to say that these days, you know, when and I speak for myself, and maybe, you know, maybe other people don't do it like that, but when I'm looking at an actress or an actor that I want to see how many followers do they have.
Right.
And if they have a lot of followers, then and if it's two people are on the same level and one has a lot of followers and the other one doesn't, you know, because, you know, and a lot of, as you know, I don't have to tell you this, Andrew, you know, the Hollywood is in shambles, and it's like, it's changing so fast, nobody knows what is happening. And right now, one of the things that they're doing a lot is they are going after people that have huge followings and trying to get projects with those people, even if they don't have any filmmaking, skills or history.
Yeah.
And of course, we're seeing a lot of crappy films coming out because of that, right?
That's exactly right.
But they're doing. But this is all about marketing, right?
It's a business.
It's a business.
It's a business.
One thing I would say also is I think if you want to get really into filmmaking, create two different accounts. Create your professional account and create your personal account. Because if you have a bunch of junk of you on Instagram, you know, whatever, it doesn't look good for your professional. Separate them and focus on your professional account and promote that one, because that's what people are going to look for.
Right.
And you don't want anything embarrassing getting out there, or people seeing like, I don't want that person on my set.
Right.
Unless you're the Kardashians. They're the most embarrassing.
That's a whole different story. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. But to finish your question, I think as an actor, you need to focus on the business aspect as well. I think we're too focused on our craft, and that's great. You know, we sharpen our craft, but it's a business before anything, and you need to at least work on that. And it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, you have to show like yourself as truly unique in your brand and stuff, so you really get that attention.
Right.
It's so important. Well, now that we're starting to get towards the end of our podcast, I would like to know, talking about business, I would like to know what's next, what's in your pipeline.
So it just so happens that I was working on a project at Chapman before my thesis, an idea that I had. And then later on down the road, I started to make that into a feature film. And after working with Heidi, I was like, Heidi's going to be the lead on this because she would be perfect for it. And so I've been developing that idea and I've been pitching it around a little bit, getting it out there. It's a feature film. And so that one's called Free Wind. It's about a young woman in a small town who aspires for greater things. And how far is she willing to go to make those dreams come true? So it's got a little bit of everything, action and
literally,
and adventure and car crashes, whatever. But it's a lot of fun. So that's one of the things I've been developing. But then also, like I said earlier, I'm also doing a short film this coming winter, just to keep working. And it was a young man who approached me and asked me to meet with him. And so I met with him at a coffee shop and we got to talking. And I gave him some advice for his career. He's a young actor. And I said, well, don't wait for anyone to hire you though. Go write a screenplay, go make a film that features kind of your abilities and your gifts. So about 6 weeks later, I got a call. Hey, I finished that screenplay. Would you please read it? And would you direct it? So I said, well, let me read it first. So I read it and it was pretty good for first attempt. It was actually really good. We've worked on it since and really developed it. So it's looking really good now. And we're going to shoot it in December.
Wow.
So,
Nice. Networking.
And that's exactly it. He networked.
Yeah.
And he's getting a lot from that.
He's going to get his film. How about you, my dear?
Well, we're working on the future.
Yeah.
But now I know that you now are directing.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. So after the pandemic, Hollywood was closed for a bit. I was on an episodic series. I was starring in that. And I had an opportunity to direct an episode. And so Andrew helped me with that. And
you got the bug of directing.
yes, so now it's like a new passion of mine. Absolutely love directing. Absolutely
Yeah.
love it. And pursuing that as well and seeing what comes my way. Yeah.
Do you have any work? What films you're working on right now?
For directing now, but acting, we have this one. We've been pitching it, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We might be working on that
Oh,
soon.
fun.
Yeah, we're excited to see that.
Yeah.
That collaboration was powerful. So I'm sure it's
Yeah.
going to be amazing again.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
And Andrew, I just want to ask, what's one piece of advice for filmmakers that you can share that if they have a project that they're working on bringing to life, like what advice would you give them?
Absolutely. I think in addition to everything we already mentioned, I want to go back and just reemphasize something. Filmmaking's hard. There's no way around it. There's no easy film. Everything's difficult. And so what that means is you have to have a lot of determination. Try to surround yourself with people who are supporting your dream because it's really difficult. It's really hard, but you can't give up. That's the thing. Because being on the other side of it, when you get something done, the reward is so big. It is such an incredible feeling to have accomplished something that was so hard to do. You can't give up, especially because you got a story that needs to be told.
Right.
Tell your story. We need to see it. Stories need to be told. And if it's really good, man, I'm ready for that. I want to see good stories.
Yeah, I agree with you. And
Don't
especially the Latino community.
Yeah.
You know,
100%,
we have so many stories that should be told and
Right.
they have not been told.
Right.
So, and I think we are on an upswing, although it doesn't seem like it, but I think it's coming. So exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. Yeah.
Well,
Well-
I just want to thank everyone for joining us on this episode of the Illustrious Collection Podcast, where we spotlight amazing indie filmmakers and actresses currently. And I just want to let everyone know that Pass is available actually on the Illustrious Collection. You could see it at www.theillustriouscollection.com. And I just want to remind everyone to please follow Dr. Ruiz Productions on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We'll see you guys next week with a new episode. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.